Alhamdulillah, ahmaduhu wasta'inuhu wastadihi wastaghfiruhu wa u'minu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Arsalahu bil huda wa din al-haq liyudhhirahu ala din kulihi walau kariha al-mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent Him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. This way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, fa'inna astakal hadith kitabullah wa awtaqa al-ura kalimatu taqwa wa khayrul milali milatu Ibrahim wa khayrul sunani sunatu Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ashraful hadith dhikrullah wa asanu al-kasasi hadha al-Qur'an wa khayrul umuri awazzimuha wa shayrul umuri muhdathatuha wa asanu al-hadyu hadyu al-anbiya wa ashraful maut katlu shuhada wa amma dalalatul ba'd al-huda wa khayrul a'mali ma nafa'a wa khayrul hadi ma utba'a wa shayrul amma al-kab. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the community is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. The best acts are ones that yield benefits. The best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah yahmuru bil-adli wal-ihsani wa ita'i dhul-qurba wa yanha anil-fashai wal-munkari wal-baghi ya'idukum la'alakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah in His plan willeth to guide, He opens their breasts to Islam. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu attaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutuna illa wa antum muslimun. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of Islam. Wa tasimu bihablillahi jami'an wa la tafarraqu. Wakuru ni'matallahi alaykum, and hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided amongst yourselves, and remember with gratitude Allah's favor on you. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nasi ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best peoples evolved for mankind, enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong, and believing in Allah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairul mursaleen. Muhammadin an-Nabi al-Ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd, yaqulu Allahu ta'ala fil Quran al-Kareem. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala an-Nabi. يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا Qawlan sadida. Oh, you believe, fear Allah, and always say a word directed to the right. Qawl sadida, meaning speak a word directed to the right. That he may make your conduct whole and sound and forgive you your sins. He that obeys Allah and is a messenger has already attained a high level of achievement. There's the same ayat, O you have attained to faith, remain conscious of God, and always speak with the will to bring out only that which is just and true, whereupon he will cause your deeds to be virtuous and will forgive you your sins. And know that whoever pays heed to Allah and His apostle already attained the achievement. I would like to go back a little bit to the same ayat that I was reading from. We must not only speak the truth as far as we know it, but we must always try to hit the right point. We must not speak unseasonably. And when we do speak, we must not beat about the bush, but go straight to that which is right, in deed as well as word. Then Allah will make our conduct right and cure any defects that there may be in our knowledge and character. With our endeavor directed straight to the goal, we shall be forgiven our errors, shortcomings, faults of the past. So this is a very comprehensive ayat, although it's short. Qawl sadidan gives the idea of speaking a word not only directly to the point, but speaking a word that is true. Also, no misgivings in it, no slickness in it, no Negroism in it, no little sidetrackism, nothing in there that is trying to reach some other way by going straight to the point. You're going straight to the point because that's where we need to go. And you are doing it with all the ability that you have. And then it says, if you do this, then Allah will clear up all the imperfections in your character. See, because we're all 70, 80% Muslims, trying to be, you know. And so we're going to make some mistakes and flaws. I mean, we're 100% Muslim, but that we, our behavior, you know, you find me somebody's behavior is 100% in order with the Quran, and hey, we'll have him over for dinner right away. If their behavior constantly, not for about 5 minutes or so, is in constant collaboration and coordination with the Quran. So Kal Sadidan has a lot to do with the time in which we're living today. We have a big job ourselves, because our job relates to our understanding of reality as it exists in our time. There's another ayat in the Quran, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, one of our favorite, of course. وَقَدْ مَكْرُوا مَكْرَهُمْ وَإِنَّ اللَّهِ مَكْرَهُمْ وَإِنْ كَانَ مَكْرَهُمْ لِتَزُولَ مِنْهُ الْجِبَالُ. Mighty indeed were the plans and plots which they made, but their plots and plans were well within the sight of Allah, even though they were such as to shake the hills. Jabal is al-Jabalu minhu. This is mean that if the hills and the mountains had consciousness, these plots, plans, and schemes against Islam would make the mountains disappear. Plots, plans, and schemes that exist against you and I today as a Muslim community are so widespread, so comprehensive, so well financed, right? That if any one of us knew of those comprehensive plans, it would make us so nervous that we might not even want to go up against that system, that society, or that crew that has been planning and executing those plans. Of course, as the ayat that follow, never think that Allah would fail His messenger in His promise, for Allah is exalted in power, Lord of retribution. Don't worry about their plans. Don't worry about their schemes. First of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us some guidelines to follow in this great mission. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu idha lakitum fiyatan fathbutu wadhkurullaha kathiran la'allakum tuflihun wa atiyullah wa rasulahu wa la tanazzahu fatafshalu tadhhaba rihukum wasbiru innallaha ma'as-sabirin. Okay, now we got our traveling orders. We got a big job ahead of us. Plans and schemes are so well thought out of that they want to make Islam disappear from the face of the earth. Just like if the mountains had consciousness, they would disappear. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He got a fight for you, Allah trains you for the fight you got coming. And not only that, once you get in tune with the Quran and the historical process of the Sunnah, and if you blend in all of that with the great historical process and your own experience, then you can come up with some pretty good conclusions. And this fight that I'm talking about is, if you fight so long, this tafweed that we talked about many times, that is turning over our affairs to Allah, and rida is when you, whatever you receive, you're pleased with it. So now we're here in America. We got three groups of people, let's say Muslims. We got the general Muslims. Let's call them the Sunni Muslims. Immigrant Muslims. They have one view of America. They're happy to be here. They're settling in for the long run. They're gonna vote and kiss all the behind they can. That's what they're gonna do. They just swore up and down, and they don't want you coming around messing with them. They got the Negro Muslims, which I'll show you in a minute, which sold their birthright. They gave their birthright away. Remember, I always bring this, now this was out of the paper, I didn't, what does it say? Conference focuses on how social invisibility of African American Muslim leads to psychological trauma and suffering. That means, now it became real apparent to me, that was a meeting of imams at ISNA headquarters in Plainfield, Indiana in 1988. And all the Negro leaders at that time were there. Even Imam Jamil was there. So, finally, when I got a chance to speak, I asked 4 questions. I said, what is an Islamic state? What's an Islamic state? Is Iran an Islamic state? Are the Shias Muslims, and should we support them? Now, one thing the Negro gives you training in is how to stand on your own ground by yourself with nobody on your team. Some of the Negroes right here that feel oppressed and psychological trauma, they were there. What they did was, when I asked the question, they technically, now you can check with Farid Newman, he got all this on video. He can't say he ain't got it. He was there, he was recording it. They got up and basically turned around. Most of them turned around and faced the other way. So I said, that's fine. I said, I use a few words that wasn't Quranic. Basically, I said, when the white man finished sticking his foot in all our behinds, you know, you'll get the picture. Now, they're crying about it. Oh, the immigrants got us on their show. We used to call it the Muslim show. So now we have the immigrant community. When they started off, we were all friendly together. Now the immigrant community have big cathedral masajid all over the country. They don't need the Negro anymore. All their kids related to the Negro. He came in and the kids was raised here in America. And their parents, what they tell them don't have nothing to do. And then the sheikhs that come in, now I'll switch a minute. I just left a conference last week. And everybody agreed on this. A lot of the Shia sheikhs that go to Qum, A lot of them, they give little fatwas and family guidance, but the kids don't want to listen to them. Because you can't learn in Qum what they're doing in America. You just can't learn it there. Just like you can't go to Saudi Arabia and study no Arabic, or they was going to Syria and studying about what to do in America. So the Negro sold his birthright. Now he's despondent about it. And so then there's the Shia community, which is mostly immigrant, but they become basically the same as the Sunnis, except they pray with their hands down. Other than that, the integration and assimilation and sending a few of their kids over and coming back, you know what I mean? They want the guidance that they want. They don't want straight up guidance. Let me put it this way. They got a community and they want to live a community like what they want to live. Forget about Quran. Forget about history. Yes, we want to be Muslims. Yes, we want to go to Eid. We want to do that. But we don't want to get too stuck in this. We don't want to get too religious. Right? And we don't want nobody coming around that's going to be reminding us of revolution and transformation. We want jobs. We went to school. We got good jobs. Our kids now are coming out of colleges. Some of them are lawyers and they working in America, and we don't want to hear any more of that revolution. That's all, everybody's like that. So now, what do? The Quran told us, Kaul Sadidan, speak a word directed toward what is straight. We don't make this up. Then when it says, now what's your traveling orders for this big fight you got? Thabata, that means to stand firm. Remember Allah much. Right? That you may be successful. Falah. La tanazahu. Don't fall into no disputes. Not only don't fall into no disputes, but don't let this system develop no disputes for you to divert you from where you're going. Okay. So now, here we are. What are we going to do? In the mixture of all of this, let's just say that all of these brothers here, every one of them, know what our position is. Do y'all think that they know, like, Sarah, they know, okay. So, they know where we're coming from. And they know we're not having any psychological trauma over here. By being rejected by the system. You know why we don't have no rejection complex? Because we didn't have no rejection complex with them. When they got up and turned around on us, most people said, man, the brothers all turned their back. I'm telling you, I don't care which one you talk about. They came before Columbus, all of these famous Negroes that you read about. They was there. One of them said, I'm going to talk about that subject tomorrow. I said, that's why I asked the question of the day. Because I was here last year when you talked about that subject, and I don't like what you were saying. I was kind of younger. And first of all, I think you're the police anyway. That's what I was saying. Maybe it turned out to be right. I mean, you pop up in South Africa and everybody liking you, and all of a sudden that same person pops up there too, supported by Saudi Arabian money. Then you go over here, somebody else pop up there, following you around the world, maybe Saudi money. But let's get back to the point. Do y'all remember Malcolm X used to talk about hand-picked Negroes? He used to talk about that all the time. What did he mean? Let's call them hand-picked imams. That means the system have hand-picked, just like fruits, special picking. The Negroes, Muslims, that they want to fulfill their plan. Hand-picked Negroes. Now, not only did we talk about this, but y'all can remember our newsletters for, let's say, starting in, say, 95 up till a few years ago. They spoke exactly on these issues. Exactly on these issues, over and over and over again. Our lectures spoke on these exact issues over and over again. Okay, then when they wake up, why don't they come by and say, you know, if there's somebody that was ignored, was an expert on some project, and everybody ignored them and, you know, threw stuff on their front yard and said, this guy's crazy. And then it comes out that he was absolutely right. If these were good scientists and good human beings, they would all get together and say, hey man, homeboy was right. We want to get this thing together. We better go over there and talk to him about it. That's normal, wouldn't it? Well, why don't they come by here? Why don't they come by here? It's just a normal. Why don't the Negroes who are feeling social invisibility, I'm assuming from the article, social invisibility is when you all used up and they don't need you no more, they throw you out. That's what it sounds like to me, but that's what the article says. And it leads to psychological trauma and suffering. Well, dear believers, at Masjid al-Islam, the As-Sabiqun movement, do not have any psychological trauma and suffering. And now I want to give you a little outline on why. Because we have been here all along to do a certain job. Okay, from 1980 to about 1987, we saw that they just flooded us with police after police. So we said, okay, here's what we do. If y'all remember the article, Strategic Management Under Conditions of Repression. So that means instead of getting rid of snitches anymore, you welcome all you snitches, come on, join them all up. Have a good time. You can sit in the front row. Why? Because you waste all your time getting rid of tattletales. You're in America. Every time you hear of a case coming to a conclusion, whether it was assassination by the FBI, whether it's sending somebody to prison, right? It was a setup by certain people working for the government. So we welcomed everybody. So strategic management under condition of repression, now we didn't call it that till 20 years later, but this is meant that we're going to bring everybody in and let everybody basically feel welcome. Not only are we going to make them feel welcome, but we got some things we got to produce. Now, they're not going to help you produce it unless they think that they're in charge. Yes, that's just simple mathematics. So if you go back to the heyday here, demonstrations, remember all of us in black, big demonstrations, all of that, right? Think about that, right? You gotta let them think that they're in charge. Same thing going on out in California. So we have to make sure that everybody helping us feels like they're in charge. And yours truly is mainly a figurehead. This is a psychological game. Okay, none of these people is up to that type of game because all of these people went to school, modern universities, stuff like that. You look at all the Negroes around. None of them was deep Southern, and none of them remember the old Negro con game. The old Negroes in the South, I mean, I'm talking around 1900, 1920, 1930s and 40s. You could get anything you wanted from the big white man. But you had to make boss man feel like you don't tell him this, but you just a good white man and you helping Pole Mose and Pole Sam. You's a good white man, right? Nobody was, so all of these slick Negroes that you've seen around here, all the Imam was part of the As-Sabiqun. It was so easy because they didn't know nothing about what I was doing. Now, you can't imagine me playing old Step and Fletcher. You couldn't imagine, but I did it. I did it. We have our people from California, you know, the curly-headed crew and all of them. No, they visualized deep Southern Negro, not that well educated, you know. So they went on year in and year out, trying to set me up with what set everybody up, everybody else up. So they'll bring in girls, white girls. They figure that's going to get you. Then if that, we get them yellow girls. Maybe it's kind of black conscious, but it still ain't got the yellow girl out. So we're going to bring yellow girls, wavy-headed girls. We're going to bring all of that. And they did this stuff for 15, 20 years, over and over again. And it never worked. It just never worked. Because, remember, if Allah got you trained for a fight, He gonna train you for the fight you got coming up. And what you start realizing is the training that you're going through, you know what the fight is gonna be. Because you see what Allah putting you through, that's your training, right? You begin to know 100% almost what's coming down the pipe because Allah then trained you with certain discipline. So the discipline over and over and over again is not to bite the carrot that they stick out there. Did anybody see this new thing on Freeway Ricky Ross? Anybody see it? Ricky Ross, Freeway Ricky. You know the multi-million-dollar dope dealer in L.A.? Y'all didn't see it, okay. Okay, you should see it. He couldn't read and write and stuff, but he come from right out of L.A. and linked up with that IranContra. Y'all done heard of IranContra, Olive North and all them bombs. Okay, that was the crew. Blandon, all the hearings that they was having in L.A., Maxine Waters and all of them in the 90s, about how the CIA was flooding crack cocaine in the black community. Okay, now, as this guy is, now he's turning over about $1 million worth a day, so I wasn't dealing nowhere that heavy. Plus I'm 30, 40 years ahead of him. But this boy was turning big money. Then they set him up, and he beat that. Then he got another little funny case. So he did 4 years. When he got out, his connection, which was sending all the money to the Contras, Blandon, set him up. He kept calling him, and he brought the price of a kilo down from 20 or 15,000. He said, you can get all you want for 10,000 a kilo of pure cocaine. So finally, brother hustled up 300,000. That's probably all his little money. And he went to make the buy. And of course, when he got there, the feds that had Blandon, who was working for the CIA, right, was the reason that they were selling all the dope in the black community, right? He gets out of prison, and that's it. And the brother goes to prison with a life sentence because he gets out a little later. We used to give lectures in the early 80s, and we used to tell people that people come to the front of the Masjid with packages of cocaine, and then somebody comes to the back door of the Masjid, it's an open, asking for the same thing that the people got at the front. And all I have to do is walk it on through the Masjid, and I can buy 5 or 10 massages just like that. Those were all setups, and that's what I call them. But see, our brother Ricky Ross was not raised in the movement, so he didn't have the skill to defend himself against the federal authorities. Remember we was talking about Marcus Garvey that died in 1940? There was a newspaper article said that Marcus Garvey died. He read the newspaper article. That's what it said, right? And he died. Okay. We don't go for none of that stuff. Here we are. We've got to teach the movement of today, the language and the history and the practices that will cause the people who are willing and want to help make this first national transition and then a global transition. Not only a transition, but a transformation from the world we're living in to the world that we want to live in. Not only transformation, we want to get so high that we transcend. That means when you break the pull of gravity of the environmental circumstances that's been holding you down all the time. Okay. All of this stuff the brothers are talking about, their tragedy and how bad they feel. Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. That's a long title, but why in Oakland, the first thing they wanted to tear down was that sign. Who tried to tear down that sign? You know why? Just a sign. People walk by, ride by, and they say, it's a serious sign. But not only that, the Negro can go south on them all the time. Just like he can go south, right, on the book reading Negroes, he can go south on the Zionist. Easy. How does that work? Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. Oh, we make out all our flyers and we talk all this. We determine heat up just a penny. I don't want nobody to freeze here. So, guess what happens? Psychological guerrilla warfare is real deep. Physical guerrilla warfare is when a small group is fighting a big, highly mechanized army. They have all the weapons, all the people, and you have a few people, and you pull little raids on them. It's guerrilla warfare. Now, psychological guerrilla warfare is when you change it from a physical confrontation to a mental or a spiritual confrontation. Now, what does that mean? That means that now, wait just a minute. If you can get it from psychological, which we did, and y'all know when we came back last time in California, we talked about spiritual jihad, ethical jihad, moral jihad. That means that's a higher level, but now let's go back to psychological guerrilla warfare, mental warfare. See, one thing is to underestimate your people. And that's the first thing you got to do to boss man. Oh, boss man, you so smart. You got everything. Oh, boss man, we ain't got a chance. And you got to convince them that you believe you ain't got a chance. But we're going to struggle anyway, boss man. What you really feel is you ain't got a chance to lose. You can't lose. But you got to trick this cracker. Yes. And all his coons. And you can do it time after time. So, we have this right here, we have this right here, it's going out to the public, da-da-da-da-da, so many people are watching. But the terrorist network, what's his name? Emerson? Steve Emerson. You look at their stuff. 200,000, 300,000, 500,000 hits, right? That's Steve Emerson alone. Daniel Pipes, the one that was behind the Danish conspiracy. That boy is El-Shaitan himself. He looks like, you ever see them eyebrows? He looks like the Shaitan. So, psychological guerrilla warfare on the highest level is when you go and you get the enemy to use his own weapons against himself. It's like you're going to the police and say, boss man, take out your pistol and shoot yourself in the head. And you do it, bam. That's what they did with us. Just remember a few years ago. All our flyers and everything we put up, right? They put our flyers as we wrote them on their websites. On our websites, we reach 1,000 people, big time. On their websites, they reach 500,000 people every day, right? And they put our flyer up there as written, just like we wrote it. Now, for them to hear it, it sounds bad, but what about all the Muslims and all the civil liberties people, which we can assume that it's 100,000, 200,000 of those people looking at their Zionist website too, right? So they take us from obscurity as they got us encircled by government agents right here in this masjid, right there in Oakland. We are blasting away on their website, the Zionist website. And they put us on just like we wanted to be presented. So everybody knows what our program is. Now, you may not think it's nothing. We call it psychological guerrilla warfare on the highest level. When you tell the system that hates you to give you all the publicity, then you can't get that publicity on your stuff, but you get it on theirs. And then they try to do you like, I don't know if y'all remember Sami al-Arian and those brothers, Palestinian movement. Well, so we watch Fox News, and Fox News trapped the brother, and there's the one that helped get him that case. So if they call me a few months later, would you like to come on Fox News? I said, of course I would. What's everybody telling me? Them white folks gonna trick you. They thinking, and they ain't got enough brains that these is big smart white folks. I said, I'm cracking, I don't know nothing. They're almost stupid. And if you remember, by the time it's ending, I'm telling Sean Hannity that he's a dummy. He's a fool. If you follow a dummy, George Bush, then you're dumber than he is. Right? Now, other stuff we put up, they only see 2,000 people. But on that, 129,000, 29. When they take it down and put it on another way, it's still hundreds of thousands of people done seen it. Right? That's 10 years ago. So what I'm saying is, we have acquired a certain amount of knowledge about our environment. Now, I'll speed up a little bit. As-Sabiqun Liberation Organization and As-Sabiqun Liberation Movement. We've said from the very beginning, the goal of these movements and organizations is to liberate the agenda of Islam in the West. As-Sabiqun Liberation Movement. To liberate us from inferiority complexes, second-class citizenshipism, right? Impossibility thinking you can't whoop the white man, you can't whoop Big Boss. Big Boss got too many things going. Big Boss will buy your mama, Big Boss will sell your daddy, Big Boss, which of course he does. But you have to be prepared for that. Remember, Allah not going to send you into no fight unless He done trained you for the fight. And if you're in tune with what you're dealing with, you're going to know what the fight is before you get in it, because you see what Allah is training you for. Right? When you're fighting a softball, when you're fighting such and such a guy, you watch all the films, right? To see how he do. It's normal, right? Nobody else pays attention to boss man but us. That's why all of them was tricked. They get tricked all the time. Why we ain't never been tricked? Because we don't think boss man is nothing but a big mouth has-been. And now we so blessed, dear community, that old Don is in there. You don't even have to imagine the far distant decline of America, right? All you got to do is wait till his next press, whatever it is, and if you got 100 steps to decline, he can knock off 2 steps of decline in one talk. We was in Iran last month for this unity conference. Jum'ah al-Taqreeb. Been having it for 31 years. And old Don come on in one 15-minute spurt and unified all the Muslims there, and we watched everybody's global TV, right? We watched their TV in Turkey, in Malaysia, in Indonesia. Y'all seen it now, right? The whole world is unified against the United States. You couldn't have did that. We don't have the power. And they've unified groups like Turkey, Iran, all of them, right, by engineering mechanisms that only feed them. So they're going to help the Kurds. And then the Kurds going to come with a picture of Abdullah. I don't know if y'all know who he is, but to holding that in front of the Kurds is like holding a picture of George Bush at the Black Nationalist meeting or something. Anyway, so then the Kurds made another mistake. The Zionist flag. Y'all remember seeing when they got the Zionist flag? So what does that do? Turkey goes crazy. They said, what's wrong with y'all, man? He said, this is our policy. This is for the United States, America first. He said, what about us? So right away, Turkey and Iran wasn't friends for a while. Now they in bed together, dear brothers, right? Why? Because they both got huge numbers of Kurds, and they don't want people messing up their equilibrium. So when you talk about international unity, it's happening on all levels. Then our dear Saudi king, prince, this boy locks up all his cousins in the penitentiary, gold-plated penitentiary. He's spending all the money himself. Wasn't that last couple of weeks ago, they were showing was that Henry Louis the 14th or the 16th? What? $300 million. The clown, they said it was him. But I don't know whether it was a Rembrandt or something. I don't even know how much it was. Some people said it's $450 million. $450 million for old rusty painting. Now, the war in Yemen, you got to look at how Allah works this stuff. The richest Arab country in the world bombing and killing the poorest Arab country in the world. And the poorest Arab country in the world said, we ain't buckling for nothing. That's the way the Yemenis are. You know, when it's like bombing Afghans. Everybody been bombed for the last 25 years, so what you gonna do? Oh, you gonna bomb us again? Well, let me point out this a batch of rocks you can bomb. Everything else been bombed, right? And people that are tough like that, you can't take their spirit away. So now Saudi Arabia, that used to be busting with money, is going broke, buying American weapons and sending weapons over there. You heard about the little thing that the secretary, the lady Haley Barber, whatever name, she had a picture of some missile supposed to be from Iran, but the brothers make their missiles. Now, it is said that it cost those brothers $23,000 per missile. But you hear that the Patriot missiles that they get from the U.S., each missile is several $million to shoot down that missile. So the first one they sent out maybe 15 missiles and finally hit it. The brothers are spending $23,000 to send over a missile, and they spending $50 million to shoot it down. Who's gonna run out of money first? Then I'm gonna wrap it up a little early today. Suppose you're gonna make changes, right? Make changes. Salman, I wanna make changes. So he lets the women drive. Supposedly it's gonna be in a while. And he wants to fix the ulama up a little bit. And he wants to do whatever else. So he run out of money. There's other princes that have as much money and almost position as he do. Instead of stroking them and telling them, well, homeboys, we're going to share like we've been sharing. You know what I mean? We're going to keep on rolling like we've been rolling. No, he don't do that. He take all his homeboys, his cousins, that are powerful too, and lock them in a hotel and shake them down. Well, bro, we've been looking at the books. We think you got $18 billion. This is one of them. And we want $6 billion of it. This is what's going to say. What you think that guy gonna do if he have to pay that much money? The rest of his money, he gonna go to the rest of his cousins, and pretty soon you have unity. Unity of who? All the cousins against Salman. Isn't that right? This idiot, that's no way to unify a position or a country. That's the worst thing you can do. That's the same way it is with what's this guy's name? Don. Thank God. We got Don, we got Salman, we got policies of the absurd. The people is crazy. They're on our team. They're helping us big time. We couldn't produce all this unity. Now I'm going to go to the final conclusion. Sherman Jackson had said over at Howard a couple of months ago, that black people that have exchanged masters, they exchanged the white man, and they exchanged the immigrant community as a leadership figure. That's what he was saying. Sherman Jackson, one of the big boys in this stuff. He said, right along with all of this stuff, psychological trauma, that they used to follow the white man. But they exchanged, we did, the white man for the immigrant leadership. They're curly-headed, they're lighter than we are. And the people think because they were born Muslims, they know more than we do about Islam. You may not believe it, that it's exactly the opposite. You know why? Because we know when we accept Islam, we don't know nothing about Islam. So all of us, at least it used to be, I hope y'all are still the same, have stacks of books. You look at my library back there. I done read at least 80% of those books. There was a time when I read them all, but I got a little busy. Technically, if you're born a Muslim, it's just like being born in the church and you go to church. But you don't do no research. A person is converted to Christianity, they go through all, he's reading St. Thomas Aquinas and everything. You see what I mean? But how many people get the Holy Ghost out there on Sunday, know anything about the Bible? Do you know any Christians that have read the Bible from cover to cover? Cover to cover? How many of your relatives, your mama, your auntie, you think they read the Bible? They just know John 3:16, a few more. God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. Who shall believe in him shall have everlasting life, right? They got a few cliches, that's it. But they don't know the Bible. We know we don't know the Quran. So we might have, see, we don't deal with recitation as much here. We deal with tafsir of Quran. So all of us here have at least 5 tafasir. 5 tafsir. You got 5? Because we want to get the whole background. Right? So we know we don't know. So when we come up talking about Islam, somebody that just came here from overseas may not know what we're talking about. Sometimes we've been in meetings and brought up stuff Quran say, and they think we made it up. Y'all remember that meeting we had over at Dar al-Hijra, and it was around 911. They said, well, what we're going to do, we have some Christian women and some of the Muslim women. The Christian women are going to wear hijab, and they're going to stand out in front of the Masjid. And so you know the ayah. I say, hey, men are the protectors and maintainers of women. When the heat is on, you don't send the sisters out and say, we're going to be back here, sisters. Y'all going out there. Right? They looked at us for a while. They knew it was true, but that nigga made that up. It's right there in the Quran. Everybody knows it. Qawam is a word. Qawam, manager, organizer, leader, all of that. Men are the protectors and maintainers of women. But they was going to send the sisters out and white women with hijab on and stand behind the girls. And what do the Quran say? You going to stay back with the girls. That's the job of the girls. Unless it's the last stage of struggle, then the women have to go fight too. But in the general struggle, they was going to say, no, you sisters going out there, we'll stay right behind you. So it seems like people know the language. They read Arabic beautifully, but maybe they don't know what it's saying. Okay, the last thing. As As-Sabiqun Liberation Organization, we have to lead this period. This is a spiritual jihad, not a physical jihad. I think I might have mentioned last month when they was putting us in jail, and the beautiful experience of realizing we had accepted Islam. You know why? All the other people was going back to jail for 5 years, 10 years. I'm in the county jail. And I'm there. The longest I can be there is until they charge me, which is 3 days, 72 hours. And I was ashamed to tell them that, yeah, I'm just going to be here a hot minute. But you know what I was looking at? I said, man, when I used to come through this jail all the time, if I wouldn't have accepted Islam, I'd have been here with the brothers. That means instead of going all over the world, knowing people in literally every country of the world, having friends in all backgrounds and all the communities, I'd be facing going back to the penitentiary. See, the difference is hearing the call and answering the call. A lot of our friends heard the call. How many friends we lose? How many friends, you know what I mean, have technically disappeared? It's has slowed down a little bit now, but when I got here in the 80s and 90s, boy, the brothers was dropping like flies. It was hundreds of people dying every year in D.C., just dropping like flies. All on the walls, rest in peace, Johnny Boy, rest in peace, so-and-so. Little flower stands, right? Everywhere. The difference is we heard the call. See, the other brothers heard the call too, but they did not listen to the call. They did not follow it up. I don't want to keep you too long, but we also have a mission. But hearing that call, I'm going to get to that a little bit next week. We coming up, we got to do the greatest good against the greatest evil. This world is not a sweet place to be for the general population. We got to make a better world out of this place. That's our job. And we have to start in our locale, the United States of America. We say we want to make America the good, not America the great. America ain't never been good, right? You ever know America? Of course not. So we want to make our environment a good environment. When you take up a big job like that, that means that you have to go beyond yourself, because you can't do it yourself, and you know it. You're going to make America good. What, by yourself? And what other army without Allah's help? So you got to call on Allah. And this time is different than other times. In other times, we usually call it risk management, where you avoid certain risks. Or it's like when you do a trapeze, the people that do the high wire stuff, they have a net under. But when you get big, super big, right? You get out there turning them flips, what? Without a net. There's only a few people do that. Probably nowadays, probably ain't none. But in the old days, that means you're going up on skill. You're going up on faith. You're going up on confidence in your companions and your partners, and everybody is putting everything together right. When we go against the Sam this time, we're going without a net. We're not putting up no risk management at all. We're going all the way from broke. So that means you're forcing yourself to become totally entrusted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? You got a big job, you can't do it by yourself, and ain't no sense of going for little now. If we don't straighten up this cracker now, this world now, it won't be here in a few more. A couple of decades, maybe it might last. So we got a big job. Okay, now, the last thing is what we call, laughingly, Star Trekism. Go beyond, remember when they used to come on Star Trek, going beyond where no people have gone before. Well, that's where we got to go. The Negro here in America have to bust all the barriers, right? So we have to Star Trek this system. That means we're going beyond all the barriers. Everything that held everybody back, we're going to go through it. Everything that held everybody down, the gravitational pull, I don't care whether it was wealth, women, or whatever that held them down, we got to break through all of that. Now, in closing, where does that leave me and you? Believe it or not, and I will close with this, we have to train people to do it, because they don't know how. Why they don't know how? They never fought the system. And if it's 10 steps to winning, they knock them out in step 1 and step 2, right? Our people don't get no higher than that. We didn't got all this way because it's the will of Allah. This is years ago, re-Africanization of the Islamic movement in North America. This is way before these articles about suffering and psychological trauma. De-Israelization of the Islamic movement in North America. That means the Israelis control the agenda of the Masjid in America. And we ain't putting up with it. College of Islamic Movement Studies, studying all the history of all the movements, strategic management under conditions of repression, and the key Department of Strategic and Islamic Studies. That's where we teach what we've learned. I know it sounds funny, but we have the best record in the United States. Just think about it. I'll close with this. Right now, just this masjid. A few people here, that's nice. But if you looked at what we had to put up with to get here, you would say it's a miracle. It's a miracle. Remember the little place we started with around the corner? Okay, then we bought that house, we bought this, that house, da 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 da. Do you notice every step of the way, people pulled back? When we stepped the end of that house on, the family that was there packed up and left. You probably don't remember our so-called little media center back there. As soon as we finished it, people that were supposed to do it packed up and left. The little gym back there, I got a nice workout this morning in it, but I don't remember nobody working out. And that boy, since we had it, maybe 5 or 10 people. Everything we have survived and maintained, with every time we make a step forward, the government pull all its people out. And now, look at this house, that house, that house. Where's everybody at? They want to use that to use psychological stuff on us. Now we use it against them. Just like I'm telling you, and I'm telling everybody. Look what we did, and then look what their response was. Right? So everything that they did against us, we using it for teaching. Yeah, everything that they use against us in Oakland, I don't have time to get in it. Dear believers, we got a big job. And it's our job to do it. Ain't nobody else on the agenda, and ain't nobody else want to do it. Don't nobody even feel like it. Tell the truth. And we're not sad, we're not despondent, and we believe it's our time. As long as we stick to these criteria. Quran, Sunnah, right? History. The Quran says, travel on earth, see what was the end of those before you, right? Travel in the earth, seek knowledge, and our own experience. You know why we always write about this white man and what he gonna do? Hell, we've been here all the time. How we gonna be wrong about him? We know his breathing pattern, what he do to us all the time we've been here, right? So unless we crazy, how can we be wrong about what boss man gonna do? How can we be wrong unless somebody is telling us something that don't fit with our nature? We didn't go for that. We didn't let nobody come in here and tell us what we ought to do. We said, no, boss man is a bad boy, and we're going to treat him like that because he ain't never did nothing good. I don't never remember boss man doing good for nobody. And any Negro he bring on board for a week or two, he gonna pitch him out the back as soon as he get tired of it, right? And now the brothers, we have invisibility, social invisibility. We don't have no invisibility. We didn't have so much visibility. We at the top of the list. All we see is police is here, police is there. We ain't nothing invisible, right? But we like the job. That's what I want to close with. Like the job. If you like the job, it ain't hard. You ever do a job you didn't like? What do you do? Sit there, watch your clock. 8:30, 8:31, 8:35, right? But suppose you hanging out with everybody, y'all having a good time. Your wife calling you, when you coming home? It's 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock? You was having a good time, right? 12 o'clock. I thought it was 7 o'clock. 5 hours just flew by, just like that, right? Same thing it is with this. Learn to like challenging the white man. I don't mean to sound racial, but this boy has treated the whole world like dogs. And it's our mission to straighten him out. We don't want to destroy America. No, 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 no. Remember, we want to make America the good. We don't want to destroy America at all. I told some friends, and I'll close in a minute. Overseas, that's how I want to. I said, if I catch any of y'all over there messing around, I said, I'm going to whoop y'all's behind. I'm talking about our revolutionary Muslims. I say, Sam, that time it was George Bush, it's taken America down so fast that if you come over and do something, you're going to slow it down. And you're going to get everybody lacking Sam again. There's Muslims came over and did this. I said, if I catch y'all over there and mess around, I'm going to jump on you myself. I ain't going to call the police, but I'm going to whoop y'all. And now it's even worse. I said, we got Don in there. We don't need y'all over here messing around. You just leave Don alone. And if Don asks you for something, here you go. Whatever you can help him to be more him, let him go. Tell the truth. You can't blow up America no faster than this man. Right? He can't destroy American image abroad. You can't do that. Where's America's image now? Gone. Do the Europeans trust him? No. Do the Chinese trust him? No. Nobody trusts him. Nobody likes him. Your Chinamen ought to do this with Korea. And the Chinamen saying, we got an 800-mile border. If we starve all the Koreans, they're going to come to China, right across the border. So we're not telling you to starve the Mexicans. Why? Because if you starve the Mexicans, they're going to come all to the U.S. Coming anyway, but they'll really be coming if you starve them, right? So this is a dumb Sam. We want you to do this, and China's look at him like this man is a fool. He thinks only about himself. He thinks only about America. And who gonna, you done blew up Libya and invaded Iraq and been in Afghanistan 16 years. 16 years. And now, you telling Koreans, we don't want you to have no atomic weapons to protect yourself. And they saying, boy, you crazy. You must be crazy. The only people you don't invade is people that's got atomic bombs. So what you talking about? You don't want me to have an atomic bomb. Well, thank you very much. That's exactly what I'm going to get. And what do they say? We'll eat grass. But if you jump on us, you may knock us over, boy, but you're going to be blistered all, you're going to have spots all over your face. You ever fought a little guy with them little bony knuckles? I did years ago, 50 years ago, my little friend. He had them little bony knuckles. I actually won the fight, but everywhere he hit me, it left the hickey, you know what I mean? So he hit me in the lip, my lip was all stuck out. He got them little bony hands. And I'm telling everybody, yeah, I whooped his behind. They looking at me, you don't look like it, though. You know what I mean? Because them little bony hands. You know how them little bony guys that can fight real good? Everywhere he hit me, he put a and I did win, technically, but psychologically, I lost that bad. Yeah, I whooped him real good. Yeah, can't hardly talk. Right? That's the way Korea is with Sam. The last thing I'm going to say about Korea, they make selling wolf tickets. They make selling wolf tickets a big deal. So, Don, what do you call the poor little guy? Kim Jong-un, all kind of names. Yeah, Rocket Man, this puppy dog, anything. So Kim Jong-un, he sell wolf tickets too. Now, when you the biggest power on earth and you recognize the other guy, right? Then his wolf tickets carry the same weight as yours. So who's winning in the battle of selling wolf tickets and name calling? Hey man, Don is a fool. You don't let a guy that size into the game because he can't lose. This is a $1 billion game and he ain't got but $500. Right? He can't lose if he loses $500. He just lost $500. But he can win the whole game. Right? Well, Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us from what is lawful. Keep us from what is prohibited with thy grace. Make us free from one of what is besides it. Ameen. Be calm at this time.